is our first update. I'm in my garage. It's also we're sighting this ponytail COLORSTORM because I went to roller skating earlier, so that's why I might be a bit tired. But regardless of that, I want to make an update and hopefully stay on track with like a little bit of posting if I don't break anything before then for this project. I probably already explained it in the intro, but COLORSTORM fursuit head specifically. I want to do a little bit of cool podcaster, filmer stuff and record some of my process because that's one of my most like wanted content stuff at the moment, which is cool because I think that it's pretty good. I'm really bad at filming things, so I'm trying to keep myself accountable for, you know, updates and all that. So to begin with, I have a base. Usually I do foam bases, which I'll put some photos of the foam bases that I have in here, or I have done. But for this one, I really wanted to get it right? Like COLORSTORM is my main gal.
I think I'm gonna name him Baby Bug Bug. I made my profile name Baby Bug Bug and my username Baby Bug Bug. It also wants me to come up with a job. My job is Baby Bug Bug.
Love her to bits, right? I want to do her right, and I had enough money to spare from working my job, and I wanted to splurge a little bit. So I have a base, and this base was made by the wonderful Equinox Kitty on Etsy, I think. Etsy, TikTok. I don't know if they have any other socials with that username, but you can find them there. Amazing bases. It's really high quality stuff. I really recommend like checking out their Etsy store and all that. Probably hopefully put the link in the description if I'm organized enough. Otherwise just go off of this, right? But the base is very cool, extremely durable. Like you can squish it, you can like probably throw it across the room. I won't, but in theory you probably could. It feels sturdy enough to do so. Anywho, I finished the lining, as you can see from the little blue bits peeking out of here. And you might say, COLORSTORM, that lining, it looks a little scruffy. There's a bit of wrinkles. You can see when the light hits it right. I've done worse. This is improvement. This is improvement for me. Okay, took me ages. And look how plush it is. Look at the shape. It's look at that inside area. I think I've done pretty well. There's always room to improve for everyone, but I think I've done well, and I choose to be proud of myself. Anyways. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a like quick discussion on how I did the lining because I don't have any footage. So you're just gonna have to sit here and like watch or listen to me ramble for a bit, which you've probably already become accustomed to if you're even on my page. But regardless, warning, rambling ahead. So lining, I've always sucked at lining, and that's just generally because I have the wrong materials. And even this is a pretty bad material to do lining with. I recommend neoprene. Please get yourself some neoprene fabric. You can probably get it at most like fursuit fabric stores and all that. If not, I think that Spotlight might have it if you're an Australian. But I seem to evade any notices of it. So if it's not there, I'm not shocked, right? So get neoprene because the science of how it works is that it's stretchy, but it also has quite a bit of thickness in it. It's quite dense, right? It's really hard to wrinkle because of how dense the fabrics are. But some neoprene is made really breathable, right? So how to work, I don't know if I can like add a photo in here. If not, I'll just explain it. But it's like that thick and it has little lines in it. So it's not like a dense piece of fabric. It's got like little serrated, like a cardboard kind of thing. Like, you know how cardboard has like the little lines in it, so it's not like a full dense piece of material. That's how neoprene works, or the neoprene that you want specifically for lining. And it's really hard for it to wrinkle, and it's so plush and so professional. Get neoprene. But if you're like me and you can't find neoprene, it's too expensive, or any of the above, use fleece, okay? So for example, let me get a piece of fabric and see if I can use this for lining. Yes. But I use this for lining on like body pieces, paws, and even the neck, and I'll show that soon when I get onto that. But this is still quite thin. If you can tell there, like there's not a lot of fabric right there. So that means that this can really wrinkle if you're trying to glue anything down. Which is bad, because you want to try and give yourself the most leniency for getting rid of wrinkles. So what I would suggest is fleece. And fleece isn't the be-all end-all like savior. Like if you're still bad at lining, it's not gonna fix that for you. I think that the only thing that would do that is probably neoprene, but I haven't tried it out, so don't take my word for it. But it's quite thick, if you can see, and it's quite stretchy, and like it's not stretchy, but it's like it's dense, right? It's a denser material than what I showed previously. And if you're a mask maker like myself, this isn't even my mask. Sugarbird, one of my lovely friends, made this for me. Very cute, very lovely, please tell her she did an amazing job in the comments below. But if you're a mask maker like me, you know that fleece or what's it called? Felt is very good materials for making it all nice and smooth because of how the material works. And it's the same deal with lining. One thing that I would say that you should do differently from me is try and make sure that your pieces are labeled, because I've got a few different pieces in here. I've got like this cheek piece, I've got this piece up here, and then I've got the muzzle pieces. Honestly, it took me like a day to figure out where everything went, because I either didn't do little darts on each pattern piece, like I didn't draw. This is a horrible example, oh my god. So for example, like these are 2 pattern pieces, let's say, right? If you don't draw any darts on it that tell it like where it connects, right? You're in for a treat trying to figure out how that works like 2 days later. So try and draw darts, or try and label things and make sure you know where things end up, because when you start cutting darts to lay it down on the paper like flat, you're gonna lose sight of what goes where, how goes there. But yeah, no, so use fleece or felt if you don't have neoprene. Use neoprene above all else, okay? And if there's like a better lining fabric that I don't know about, use that, okay? This is just my knowledge from how I've taught myself to do this. Regardless of that, it's a very different situation trying to line bases than it is to line proper, I hate lining proper faces. I suck at it, and I've never done it right. And for that, for all of you, you might be asking, COLORSTORM, please, give me an advice. Give me a piece of advice that solves my problems for me. And I'd look right back at you and go, you think I know? With my atrocious lighting skills? I'm so sorry, but there are millions of tutorials out there that will tell you how to do lighting better than me. You know what? If you're coming for sewing tips, or you're coming for like design stuff, come to me. I'd love to teach you. Lining? No, don't listen to me. Regardless, I'm gonna hopefully update you more. I don't know what I'm really gonna do next. I really want to start on the neck right now because I like sewing rather than like figuring out measurements and stuff like that for like the straps and all that. But regardless, I'm gonna update soon, hopefully. Bye!
Hey, it's me again in voiceover form, here to tell you what I'm doing with this scissors and this piece of paper. I'm working on cutting out my pattern from Sheenitude on Etsy. This is the pattern that I use for all of my fursuit necks for any personal or commission projects. I really recommend their pattern because it's easy and it makes clean suits every time.
Covered in fur. My god. For good reason though. It has gotten a lot later, as you can see by the sun not being there. But I have done something very cool. This is very cool because it's not the first time I've done this. It's the second time. But I've done it a lot better now. So what I wanted to do for COLORSTORM, right? I wanted to, because she's my true Sono, right? She's like me as a fursuit. So I really wanted to make sure that all of, or at least a lot of stuff that's really close to my heart is at least representative on her design. And I think that that's a really cool way of designing a character, especially if it's supposed to be your persona, by not distancing that character away from who you are. So, for example, I'm also planning on giving the base a little bit of a nose bump because I do have one in person, like just stuff that connects me to the character. Regardless, I'm gonna go on to what I actually started talking about, but I finished sewing the neck. The Last of Us firefly symbol. I'm really proud of this because this is probably the cleanest firefly symbol I've gotten ever, right? I've done this before, right? And it's really difficult when you're working with small little fiddly pieces. And I have a few pieces of advice, right? Markings in general there's stuff for markings in general and there's stuff with just fiddly pieces, right? So first things first, the way I sew, I might insert a video here if I do end up doing that. If not, I'm just gonna try and explain it the best I can. Is through a consistently knotted blanket stitch. So this is what a blanket stitch looks like, but I knot every single stitch. And previously, that technique has made it so my fabric bunches a lot when I pull too hard on the stitches. And it's a mistake that a lot of people can make. And I've only recently really been able to try and avoid that by trusting that my knots will stay. You don't have to pull it really, really hard to trust that the knots will stay. They will, right? Just gently pull it through, make sure that it's connecting to the fabric, and move on. The knots will be strong enough once you finish the actual thing, which really helped me with the bunching issue, right? My sewing isn't the prettiest thing in the world, so don't be too critical, but it's not bunched up too much. Like usually my fabrics, we really wrinkled because of how much the bunching has happened, right? How much fabric that I'm like pinching when I'm sewing. And I feel like that's a really, really good tip. So don't pull too hard on your stitches, especially if you're doing a knotted blanket stitch. It's getting really late and my father's already come down to kind of get me in the house, so I'm gonna try and make this quick. Second thing, with markings. I don't think a lot of people do this, so this is really a me thing. But when you're cutting out your markings, usually people wait till the end to kind of shave it all down and make it look really pretty and really nice. It's a way, but I always find ways to make my stuff look really scruffy, and I cut it wrong and it looks really weird. So please, for the sake of how smooth your markings look, trim them and make them the length you want before you sew them together. And that goes for like when you're shaving down pieces too. Always shave or cut the fur length to what you want them to be before you sew it on. Once you sew it on, you're dealing with a big piece of sewed fabric with many different indentations, and you're gonna have a really hard time sewing it all together. Not sewing it all together, sorry. Like shaving it or cutting it down to the length you like without it being really, really fiddly. So that's why I've gotten it to be quite lovely, like how the marking has come out, because I've taken my time and I've cut it all before I've sewn, right? I feel like that's really, like, I cannot stress that enough. That's how you're gonna get really cool markings. Anyways, I'll update tomorrow with a bunch of stuff, or whenever I do this next. I really don't know what's going on. I'm on break now, so I can kind of do whatever I want. Anywho, I'll see you whenever I see you, and hopefully have a bit more updates.
Here I am, just preparing my neck pieces for sewing. I like to make sure that my lining fabrics are all measured up correctly and connected to my fur fabrics before I start sewing. And the way I sew these fabrics is I like to do the lining onto the actual fur fabrics on the individual pieces themselves before I sew the pieces like as a unit, like as the neck itself. So, for example, instead of sewing the whole neck out of just the fur fabric, sewing the whole neck out of just the lining, and then sewing them all together, I like to sew the individual pattern pieces together in terms of the lining and the fur fabrics, and then putting it all together. It's just personal preference, and you can do it however you like. You'll still end up with a really nice neck because the pattern is great, but that's just how I do it. Now you can settle in and watch the rest of this time lapse as I finish sewing these neck pieces together. I didn't end up recording how I painted the eyes, so here is my haberdashery way of showing that I used a stencil. Using stencils are really helpful when creating eyes, especially if you're impatient and don't like to wait for paint to dry. But these are how my eyes turned out. And we're ignoring the mess. Please, camera, come on. Now moving right along to the ears. You can line up your base and create a stencil just to make sure that you like how it sits and the way that it's angled away from the head. Here, I'm using EVA foam for my ears, though I know a lot of fursuit makers use foam. You can use foam, I just personally hate working with foam, and I feel like if you get EVA foam right, you can get a lot of really nice angles and your shapes are really defined. It's much more difficult to carve and place and hot glue, so it's kind of like a pro and con situation. But if you're a new maker, I recommend using foam, but if you've done a few suits before and you want to try something new, EVA foam is really cool to work with. I really recommend.
Hi! This is like third update or something, I don't even know. As you can see, stuff's been happening. We've been doing things. Huge update from the last thing. I finished the ears. The fur isn't permanent like the cheek fluff. That's a proof of concept at the moment, which is a thing that I really like to do, which is trying to make like a mock-up of what you want to do without making it like as non-permanent as possible, right? So right now that's the fur mock-up for what I want to do for the cheeks. Holy, I'm really sick. So I'm trying to get this recording in before like my voice gets worse or anything. But yeah, okay. So I finished the ears. I don't know if I can touch that because like none of that fur is pinned. But ear-wise, just make sure that you have like a template or something and you're working off of that and you're not just kind of going free on it. Also check. Because I know it doesn't really matter for most people, but I really like my ears to be as symmetrical as possible. So like no one's bending forward, no one's sitting higher up. So check every point of contact on the ear, right? You want to check your top bits here, so where it's like the top bit of the ear sits. You want to check your bottom bits if they're level with each other, and you want to check your middle bits, right? If they're level with whatever you want. Because how I see it, and you want to get that as perfect as possible, because the moment that you're starting to fur the head and you're patterning it, the fur is going to make all of your little imperfections, like as per like angle of the ears, so much more visible. So that's what I've been tinkering on a bit, and I just, please, for the love of whatever, take some time to make sure your ear placement is right, because you're gonna thank me later. You're gonna thank yourself later. Take your time. Regardless, I think that's mostly all the updates I have for this right now. I'm gonna have to glue that cheek stuff down eventually, so I'll do that. I'm also currently working on figuring out how to build a 3D printer, which is a lot harder than you think it is. So I'm doing that because I want to do like the 3D printed eye blanks. Anyways, I'm sick. That's happened. I'm gonna do more stuff. All right, see you soon.
Now moving right along to the patterning. The patterning is probably my least favorite part of making any fursuit. I've started with the ears now because how I'm doing it is I'm doing like the entire ear from the pattern to the finishing and putting it onto the head so that I don't have to deal with patterning a full head all at once. So here's me taking off my pattern for the ear after I've marked it out with some of my dry erase markers. I recommend dry erase, but you can use whatever markers you like. And I think in this video I was smart, and I've been able to angle my phone just in a second so that you can see how I press it down on the paper. Come on, COLORSTORM, there we go! Now you can see I'm pressing it down on the paper. Sometimes when you're taking off your pattern pieces, you may need darts, but I'll explain some of that later when I'm doing the face markings. But this one, I was able to get away with just kind of smoothing it out and making sure everything was all in shop shape. Trimming. I hate trimming so much. My shaver that I own, that I have one, that is definitely a pet shaver because we bought it from the pet store and got weird looks, doesn't work. So I sit there for hours with my little piece of my pair of scissors and just chop until I'm satisfied. And like Hamilton from the Broadway musical Hamilton, sang by Eliza, I will never be satisfied. So I struggle. Anyways, here I am just writing out my markings on the ear, and I've got my little iPad set up. Honestly, filming all of this was such a hassle, but anyways, we got a really nice video out of it.
Update, I gotta go really fast because I'm like about to go. But I am going to be set loose in Spotlight for like 45 minutes, and I thought that because I'm buying some stuff from Spotlight for my fursuit, I'll like tiny vlog it. But this is insane. If I'm left alone in Spotlight, I'm gonna come back with like 5 more things than I originally went to buy from. So wish me luck. I really need to find like a darker colored minky for the inside of the ears. Hopefully neoprene. I'm on the hunt for neoprene. and like every spotlight in my area, but I haven't been successful so far. What else do I need? Foam clay. I need foam clay and magnets. And that's the 4 things that I need. Other than that, I don't really need anything. If I come back with things that are different from that, or more than that, or less than that, that's bad, okay? See ya.
And here I've finally finished both ears. I've sewn together the back of the head and placed the neck, made sure everything is in ship, shape, shop, shap, as now I'm making this a joke, an inside joke of myself in this video. You know, actually, as I'm putting this video together and recording this voiceover, have any of you guys read the new Wings of Fire book, Hybrid Prince? I think it's pretty good. I don't know. I was unsure at the end of the last arc whether it would be good or not, but this one is a really strong start, and I'm really interested in seeing how it all goes. No spoilers, but all the hybrids are really cool. That's all I'm giving you. But tell me more in the comments if you guys think that, I don't know, did you like it? Did you dislike it? How did you think of Umber and Mulberry? Let me know. I'd like to hear from you. Anyway, sorry I got distracted by my own rambling. Here are some of my pattern pieces. They're gonna be held to sew, and they were. Idea to show you guys how I sew my markings, especially really detailed markings. So I'm a firm believer of like shave or cut or trim, however you do it, before you put it onto the head, before you glue it onto the head. Please trust me, if you're a beginner maker, it just removes the error of having messy shaves or getting it snagged on glue on the head. Just please trust me on this, shave before you glue everything on the head. So here I've shaved both my pattern pieces and I'm outlining them together to make sure that they've got, you know, they're all entirely correct and measured the right way. And I think here, yeah, I'm showing you how I'm cutting this out. If you can't tell, this is my first time doing like a vlog of any sort, so if I do any weird things with the camera or my voiceovers seem a little tangential and weird, that's just, I don't know, rookie mistakes. Hybrid Prince again, these are some of my opinions. I thought that it was an amazing start to this arc, and I'm so excited to see all the new hybrids and stuff. Like, having so many hybrids seems like a really interesting concept for like fan art and creating OCs, but on the other side of things, I can also see how that can become kind of a problem because you get like, I don't know, Mary Sue dragons, like you've got the Nightwing, Rainwing, Winterwing, they don't exist, Icewing, Sandwing hybrid all together, and they're gonna kill us all because they're the most powerful OC in the world. But anyways, that's just me being pessimistic. I thought it was really good, and you should read the book.
1, 2, 3!
Bye.